All right, guys, welcome back. Sorry for the extended hiatus, but the last piece, that was, well, a very long year. Anyway, we're back. I'm going to be doing a tutorial series. See how that works out. What we're going to be doing for this is we're going to be going over 6 basic steps that I remember from when I was learning how to draw, and hopefully that'll translate over to whatever it is you're working on, and of course you can modify as needed. But yeah, let's get to it. Anyway, so here's your intro to drawing. Hey, first rule, obviously there are no rules. You can do whatever you want, make whatever you want, have some fun with it. Okay, that being said, rule 2. Yeah, psyched you out there. Nobody ever sees that coming. You need to know basic geometric shapes. So we all know triangles, circles, squares, pairs, rectangles, hills. Hills, I'm not going to draw a rhombus because I don't want to. But you need to know what these are and how they can possibly work together. You look at any complex work of art and you might think that you might not really see the basic geometry in pretty much anything, especially when it comes to figure drawing. But I mean, you look at a head, you've got a circle or an oval, then eventually you get down to a body, a torso, a waist. Next, you want to, or you can combine squares, rectangles. Give them an oval for an arm. And you can make something pretty solid out of that. Then you got yeah. And get down to rule 3. Try to learn what different styles are. Figure out what works for you. Don't be afraid to experiment and occasionally try something different. And sometimes it pays off. Take what you're most comfortable with and try to adapt it to something else. Then you get down to rule 4. Don't be afraid of failure or criticism. You're going to experience a lot of both. So if you're self-conscious, you're going to get over that real fast. You're not going to do very well with this. Rule 5. Figure out which tools work best for you. So typically what I usually start with is a pencil. Doesn't really need to be anything special. It can be a 2, a 2H, a 2H, a 2HB. Generally ideal for drawing. An eraser and a pencil sharpener. And later you can move up to more complex tools. You can use watercolors. You can use pencils. You can use colored pencils. You can use paint. You can even take things like Prismacolor color pencils. You can dub them into, you can go in and put in the basic colors into the layout of what you're drawing, and then occasionally you can go in with a paintbrush after dipping that into mineral spirits and create a watercolor effect with that. I've only done that once. I don't really want to do that again. But it's best to figure out what you're comfortable with and just do that. Rule 6. Relax, have some fun, and just be comfortable with what you're doing. You're not necessarily doing this for anybody else except yourself. Me, I do this because this is always sort of a form of prayer for me, I guess. But yeah, always have. Just have some fun with it. Relax. Just enjoy yourself. Because ultimately, you're not making this for anyone but yourself. And if you want to share it with other people, always do so. And if you're doing this for other reasons, there's always that too. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to start out with basic drawing, following some of those basic rules. So we're going to take our pencil and we're going to start with just putting in a couple of basic shapes. So a lot of people will tell me that they can't really do something as simple as draw a stick figure, which I never understood. Good. This is a stick figure. His name is, call him Tom because Bob is just way overused. This is Tom. Well, what do you notice about Tom? For his head, we have a circle. For his arms here, we have the basic shape of a triangle. And for his legs, we again have the basic shape of a triangle. And here for his body, we have the basic shape or start of a rectangle. So again, we're just applying basic geometric shapes and creating something that works here to create the impression of a person. And this is generally how most people start out, is just creating a basic figure of a human form. When I started learning how to draw, I'd start out with a circle for the head, a rectangle for the body, 2 rectangles for the legs, a couple triangles for feet, rectangles for arms, some semicircles for hands, and give them a couple of fingers. Some eyes, eyebrows, give them a smile, because, well, this is how I drew when I was 5 years old. I was young and impressionable. Didn't know how the world really worked. And now I'm 33 and I'm old. But, yeah, here we are. This, however, is not Tom. We're going to name him Bob because Bob is already overused. And I've done this thing a billion times, so just go with Bob because I'm not very creative with names. So again, you're always going to have the people that make the excuse that they can't draw a basic stick figure. And again, there's really nothing to it. It's 5 lines and a circle. Again, it all follows the basic rules of just using basic geometric shapes and combining them together to make a whole form. All right, this is eventually going to come into about we can give them a head. And then use that to create the impression of a spine. The torso, waist, and give him some legs. And some arms. Now we have the basic structure of the human skeleton. Again, following the basic principle of rectangles, circles, triangles, squares. Nothing really overly complex. And this is how figure drawing generally works. I mean, even with the human face, get some ovals for the eyes. Triangle for the nose. Basic impression of a triangle here for the brow. Ovals. Urban squares for the mouth. And then and we're not going to get these names because, well, I can't think of any. But yeah, this is how you start to go into it. It's all just trial and error. You start with something basic, and then you eventually start moving up to things that are more complex. It's learning about observing details and figuring out how these things work together. And then occasionally, sometimes, you get something like this. But that's showing off, and we're not here to do that. We're here to do this. But yeah, that's all we've got for today. I want to thank you guys for stopping by and checking this out. I should, now that I'm uploading again, I should be able to hopefully have new series covering whatever the next piece will be. Hopefully starting tomorrow. But yeah, I want to thank you guys for stopping by. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. Again, you're not obligated to. Just grateful to have you guys here. And until next time, stay awesome out there, you beautiful weirdos. Deuces.